Hey everybody, and welcome back to our ship build. I wanted to start off by filling all the little holes and imperfections in the 3D prints to get everything ready for paint. But before painting, I wanted to do something special with this model. I wanted to add lights. It's something I've never done before. These are just LED lights that I found in an Arduino kit. I didn't use the actual Arduino, but I did wire these up for a 9-volt battery. I did a ton of research online and kind of went with that. This is a great product. I'm making railings out of this. It's like a flexible string, and it's used for rigging in ship models, and I thought I'd use it for railing. I do use it for rigging as well, a little later on. This plastic is just from the recycling container. I think it was a cart for something. And soldered everything together, so I didn't have to worry about it coming apart. And I hot glue over everything to act as an insulator after, so there's no exposed wires. What's a ship without his captain? I thought maybe give him a blue shirt. I don't know what captains wear. Some khakis. Look nice and official. Up on the helm. It's kind of tricky doing this process. I needed the wiring and the interior painting done before I could paint the outside. So I masked everything off and gave everything a paint job. This is painted in the same color scheme as the original concept art. Really just love the way that boat looked, so just giving it the same basic paint job. Obviously this model is a little different than the original artwork, but I wanted to keep it in the same color scheme. I don't know how well this came out, but this technique I got from Night Shift Models. You should go follow him if you don't. He uses it to add armor texture. I thought maybe it would add like some barnacles or some sort of effect, but it didn't really show in the final product, but it's still cool and it might help protect the foam. I probably should have painted the black last and started with the white. I had to re-mask over that. But this is very satisfying, pulling off masking. See here, I had to remask the black. I think it came out really nicely. It's not perfect, but we'll cover that up in weathering. If I had time, I would have sprayed clear over the masking tape to stop bleeding, but it is what it is. I didn't show this on camera. It was just a last-minute thing. I just scribed in a wood texture into the back of the boat. It's probably a little out of scale. Those would probably be a little too big, but it just needed a little something. It was a little too flat, and you don't really see it because it ends up being covered up with a lot of stuff in the end, but it's there. I'm just doing some weathering with the airbrush before we get into the oils. And this I just basically went back and forth with some browns and greens to give this a kind of a rusted look. Figured that'd be where the anchor chain would be, and that would kind of add some rusting or just anywhere where metal would come in contact with the boat. I'm just doing some dot filtering, again with oils. Just give that paint a little bit more depth when you see old ships, old steel ships. They have a little more faded paint. And then we just got into some of the detail work here. Life preservers. And I figured the ship was looking a little too clean, so I kept the oils and went over all the structures with some rusty washes. And I'm really happy with how that came out. I think it gives the paint a little bit more, it gives the overall model a little bit more character instead of it looking like it's a brand new ship. Whenever I do my armor models, I love weathering them. That's usually my favorite part of the build, so I just went over everything with a quick oil wash. In the concept art, the ship has a lot of just wires and ropes all over the place, and I really love that. I really love that look, so I just painted up some wire and glued them into place. I think it really finishes it off. I think it looks really nice. And here I'm using that same string that I used for the walkway railings. And again, you can kind of see how it's really easy to make a nice straight line. You don't have to worry about knots or slack building up because it's a rubberized product. So all that rigging looks nice and crisp. I just had some fun with that. What's a ship without a seagull or two? So here's the breadboard that I used to mock up the wiring, and some of the exposed wires I painted black so they'd look like hoses. I have my switch there, and here I am just getting into position. Those are some connectors there that'll connect to the top half of the structure. It's tricky to paint it and wire it up, so I use some connection points. Here's some of the stuff that's going to be on the deck of the ship. An air compressor for if they have divers or a sub. I figured that'd be pretty beat up, so I did some sponge chips and then went back through with some steel chips. The Zodiac. There it goes on the deck into place. This I thought would be a fun idea. I used the matte Mod Podge to glue this old map down that I found. And some crew members need to get painted before they're locked inside the cabin. There were a lot of steps in this build that that was the most challenging part, was making sure I did everything in the right order so I could paint it and put it together and not have to open the ship back up. So this stuff went in, and then I could put the rest of the structure on, and I'm clipping the wires into the connectors there. This was a really fun build. Definitely my most challenging build with the LEDs, but I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. There's more to come with this model. I've got big plans for it, so I hope you enjoyed. See you next week.